In the year 1900, a powerful American city stood proudly on the edge of the Gulf of Mexico. Galveston, Texas was wealthy, modern, and confident. It was one of the most important cities in the United States, a booming port that connected America to the world. Its streets were lined with elegant homes, its businesses thrived, and its people believed the future belonged to them. Few could imagine that, within a single night, this city would be torn apart by the deadliest natural disaster in American history, a catastrophe so severe that more than 8,000 people would lose their lives. This is the true story of the Great Galveston Hurricane, a tragedy most Americans have never been taught about. Welcome to Untold Civilization, exploring the hidden stories of history. At the turn of the 20th century, Galveston was known as the Wall Street of the South. Cotton, oil, and international trade flowed through its harbor. The city represented progress, ambition, and American confidence. Trains arrived daily, ships filled the docks, and new buildings rose year after year. Galveston was not just surviving, it was thriving. Many believed it would soon rival cities like New Orleans, or even New York in importance. Storms had come before, and Galveston had survived them all. Each time the city endured, its confidence only grew stronger. Despite sitting barely above sea level and facing the open Gulf, Galveston's leaders dismissed concerns about hurricanes. Some officials openly claimed that a storm powerful enough to destroy the city was impossible. They believed geography itself protected them. There was no seawall, no evacuation plan, and no serious preparation for disaster. Confidence slowly turned into arrogance, and arrogance would soon prove deadly. In early September of 1900, far away in the Atlantic Ocean, a massive storm began to form. Cuban meteorologists, among the most advanced in the world at the time, carefully tracked the system. They recognized the danger immediately. Warnings were sent out, alerting authorities that a powerful hurricane was moving westward. But in the United States, those warnings were ignored. The U.S. Weather Bureau controlled all official forecasts and refused to trust foreign data. Political pride and professional rivalry outweighed public safety. As days passed, the storm grew stronger. Still, Galveston's residents went about their lives unaware. Children played in the streets, shops remained open, families prepared for another normal weekend. There were no evacuation orders, no emergency alerts, no sense of urgency. The city slept peacefully while disaster raced toward it across the sea. On the morning of September 8, 1900, the sky began to darken. Winds picked up slowly at first, then with terrifying speed. By the afternoon, the hurricane made landfall. Winds roared at over 130 miles per hour. The sea rose violently, sending a massive storm surge crashing toward the island. Water poured over the shoreline and flooded the streets. Houses were ripped from their foundations. Entire neighborhoods vanished beneath the waves. As night fell, the situation turned apocalyptic. Darkness swallowed the city. The sound of wind and crashing water drowned out human screams. Families were torn apart in seconds. People clung desperately to rooftops, trees, and floating debris. Some held onto loved ones until exhaustion forced their grip to loosen. Others were swept away without warning. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and no help coming. By midnight, Galveston had ceased to exist as it once was. The storm surge reached heights no one had imagined possible. Wooden homes collapsed like paper. Railroads twisted. Ships were thrown inland. The island became a sea of destruction. For hours, survivors fought not to drown as the hurricane punished the city without mercy. When morning finally arrived, the storm had passed. But the nightmare remained. Galveston was unrecognizable. Nearly half the city had been destroyed. Thousands of bodies lay trapped beneath rubble and debris. With no electricity, no clean water, and no medical support, survivors faced unimaginable suffering. Injuries went untreated. Fires burned uncontrollably among the ruins. The smell of death filled the air. As rescue efforts began, the scale of the tragedy became clear. The number of dead was overwhelming. With no way to properly bury the victims, authorities made the grim decision to transport bodies out to sea and burn them. Even this plan failed, as currents returned many of the remains to shore. Eventually, mass cremations were carried out on land. The final death toll was estimated at over 8,000 people, making the Great Galveston Hurricane the deadliest natural disaster in United States history. But this tragedy was not caused by nature alone. Human failure played a critical role. There had been no seawall to protect the city. Warnings were ignored. Evacuation plans did not exist. Pride, denial, and misplaced confidence turned a natural storm into a national catastrophe. Galveston's belief in its own invincibility proved fatal. In the years that followed, the city took dramatic action. Engineers constructed a massive seawall stretching miles along the coast. Entire sections of the city were raised several feet above sea level, one of the greatest engineering efforts of its time. Galveston would never again be as vulnerable as it had been in 1900. Yet, despite these efforts, the city never fully recovered its former power or influence. The center of trade shifted elsewhere, and Galveston slowly faded from national prominence. Over time, the memory of the disaster faded as well. Later hurricanes, wars, and modern tragedies captured public attention. The Great Galveston Hurricane became a forgotten chapter in American history, rarely mentioned in classrooms or textbooks. Yet its lessons remain painfully relevant. It stands as a reminder that progress does not make us invincible, and that ignoring warnings can cost thousands of lives. The Great Galveston Hurricane was the deadliest disaster in American history, one most people have never heard of. And as climate threats grow stronger today, its story serves as a warning from the past, urging us to listen, prepare, and never underestimate the power of nature again. History still holds many secrets, buried beneath time. What we uncovered today is only the beginning. If you want to explore forgotten stories, real events, and hidden truths, subscribe to Untold Civilization, because history is never truly finished. Thank you for watching.